Welcome, Paul.
Wonderful. Thank you. Yeah, so firstly, amazing to see all of you again. It's been a long time. It feels a long time. And as we were just speaking briefly about it, for me, it's extraordinary coming back from retreat. So having a kind of Vasa retreat in robes and really revisiting in a sense, almost revisiting the Dhamma for myself, because the retreat was for me, highly immersive and almost entirely free of distractions of any kind. And it was very deep, it was very powerful in many ways. And so coming back, and particularly coming back to this that we are exploring, it's been very interesting, re-looking at, well, the Bojjanga specifically, which we're exploring this year, and really the entire path, and really looking at for myself in what ways the path has really become illuminated. So today, what we're going to do, as we always do, we're going to spend the first hour meditating. So we're going to do both a Brahmavihara type meditation and also some insight practice. And then in the second half, we're going to visit the sixth of the Bojjanga, Samadhi, sixth of the awakening factors. And we'll do that partly by revisiting the first five and really kind of bringing back into the heart, bringing back to life some of the things we've spoken about before, and then looking at how they create the conditions for samadhi, which was actually very much something that I was working on and working with while I was on retreat. As we go into the meditation, we can actually do this sort of meditatively. It might be worth closing your eyes if they're not already closed, and just reflecting on this in a meditative way. So really asking the question, for us to be free, for us to find liberation, to be liberated, if we consider that the purpose of BODHI MAGGA as a group is really to set all of our hearts very firmly and irrevocably on that path by reaching at least stream entry, and for those who've already reached it, the next path and fruit, whatever that might be. So reflecting, what is required for that? What is required for us to be free? To be free from all of the pain, all of the suffering that we have gone through since beginningless time, as the Buddha described it to us. In this very life, some of us lead, and include myself in this, in fortunate lives, surrounded by lovely people, and have a house over our heads, have food to eat. But even so, there is suffering. Suffering of aging, decay, sickness. All of us have been a little bit sick. Some of us have been very sick during our lifetimes, including even now. Suffering of separation from loved ones, parents dying, other relatives, close family, close friends, separation of other kinds from material things, things that we have lost, maybe money, maybe other possessions that our hearts and minds are attached to, that we've suffered other things in our lives, not getting things that we really wished for, coming into contact with painful things, perhaps in our relationships. So even in these relatively fortunate lives that most of us are living, even there, even now, we're experiencing all types of dukkha. So if we ask, what is necessary? What is necessary to be free? The Buddha said, in one who has destroyed craving, who's achieved the complete fading away, viraga, of craving, of desire, of wanting, in that person is liberated. And what is required for that to happen? What is required for the destruction of craving and the all associated defilements, particularly ignorance, avidya? What is required for this? So the Buddha said, for that to happen, our hearts and minds must become disenchanted, nibbida, with all formations, with everything that arises, everything that passes away. So really he's talking about everything in existence, because as the heart and mind see that all life, all existence is fragile, is temporary, it does not last, it decays, dies, everything, these bodies, everything mental, everything in life and life itself is completely impermanent. And when we see that, we really see that, we see that there is nothing to cling to, nothing to be grasped. So disenchantment, nibbida. And what is needed for that? What is needed for nibbida? What is needed for disenchantment? So the Buddha said, for that to occur, there must be knowledge, must be vision, jnana, dasana, knowledge and vision. In other words, a deep seeing of the conditioned nature of everything, of its anicca nature, and therefore its dukkha, its unsatisfactory nature, and therefore its emptiness, its anatta nature. So the complete nature of everything, when that is seen, completely seen, the heart and mind become disenchanted, nibbida. So what is needed for knowledge and vision? How does that occur? How do we know? How do we see? So the Buddha said, one who has a heart and mind that is unified, that is composed, one who has samadhi, is one who sees, is one who knows. So we know therefore that samadhi is key, is vital to liberation. Without it, liberation does not occur. So what we're going to really explore today is a continuation of what we have been exploring this whole calendar year, which is, what are the conditions for samadhi? What leads to samadhi? That is our exploration for today. So, if you haven't already, just gently allow the eyes to close and just bring awareness to how you're sitting, if you are sitting, whatever your posture is. To bring the awareness into the body. And just gently observing the posture. And if you notice any way in which the posture may not be ideal, actually take the time to adjust. Just adjust gently how you may be sitting, in case there's a slightly more comfortable way of arranging the body, arranging the legs, of holding the back. As the Buddha says, uju, upright, upright. With the head just balanced gently. Have a comfortable and yet upright posture. And so these are these first steps in taking care of the body. Relaxing the body. Really caring for ourselves, actually. Being kind to ourselves. If you notice that any of the day's difficulties or the week's difficulties are present, are arising, gently just allow yourself inside to smile, gently smile. Kind smile to yourself. Because you're taking the time to look after yourself now. And as you do that, you may notice that your breath is gradually deepening. The in-breaths are getting a little longer, and so are the out-breaths. And knowing that this lovely, relaxed, deeper breathing is associated with health of the body, relaxation of the body, and in turn of the mind, relaxing the heart and mind. As we breathe out with each exhalation, just letting go of any stress that may be hanging on anywhere in the body. Just letting go, just relaxing. Starting with the head, top of the head, back of the head, and the face. Just relaxing, just letting them calm wash over yourself. Gentleness, ease, bringing that awareness down through the jaw, into the neck, to the whole of the head, the whole of the face and the neck. Calm, relaxed, free from tension. Bringing the awareness down yet more, down to the shoulders. Letting the shoulders relax. And further down into the arms. Extending that kindness, that inner smile, down further into the body, into the arms, the upper arms, the lower arms, the hands and the fingers. And down into the torso, the chest, the upper back, and inside, lungs and the heart. Just really allowing love, kindness, care, gentleness to suffuse the body, every part of the body, every part. And extending it down into the abdomen, lower back, we're also bringing a sense of safety, protection with this care, with this kindness. This feeling of love. We bring it down further, down to the hips, the whole part of the upper legs, front and the back. Gentle awareness, so gentle, so caring. Now down further, the knees, down to the lower legs, the calves, shins, healing. There's this kind of careness, this kind of care, kindness, gentleness is really healing. Healing every cell in the body. down into the ankles and the feet, the soles of the feet, toes. So really our whole body is filled with, suffused with care, kindness, sense of health, safety, protection, ease, well-being. Goodness, happiness. So we're really allowing ourselves to be completely free from those things which cause us suffering, which cause us pain, free from anxiety, free from ill will, free from hostility. You can feel abundant care, abundant love, abundant kindness throughout the whole body. You can also reflect that just as we are taking care of ourselves, there are those people that we love. We wish this for them too. We want our loved ones also to be safe. We want them also to be protected. We want also good things for them, goodness to flow in their lives to go well, to be full of ease, easiness, be free from difficulties, pain. Our loved ones, in our families, amongst our friends, all those people that we are close to, all those beings, which may include our pets, as we bring all of them into our hearts, wishing these beautiful things for them, can also reflect that those people that we don't know, those people that we see in the streets, people maybe whose names we don't know, people in the counters in the supermarkets, people who drive the buses and trains, all the people on the streets, They all have their lives too, and actually are the same as us. They all too want to be safe, protected. They all too have loved ones. They all too don't want bad things to happen to them. So we can really extend this care, this kindness, this gentleness to those beings, really countless beings, those that we see, the very, very, very many that we don't see, that we will never see. We live in different places, even in different countries, different continents, whose lives we know nothing about, but they are there, nevertheless. Those beings also who are to be born, currently in the womb, all the beings in the other realms of existence, at this moment are not in the human realm. There's a colossal number of beings who are in realms we cannot see, or in the animal realm who are under the ground, or in the oceans. So many beings. So we're really extending this care, this love, this connection to all beings in every realm, in every world system, throughout the entire universe. It's an abundant love, Vipulena, exalted, wonderful exalted love, Mahakatena. It really cannot be measured. It's immeasurable. Appamanena. Entirely free of ill will, averina, entirely free of hostility, and Bojjanga. It's a very beautiful quality of metta to all beings, including ourselves. wishing that all beings be completely free from all suffering. And also that those beings currently have good things happening to them. They not be separated from that. Lovely feeling of mudita. We can also reflect that all beings, all of us, are the owners of our actions. All of us are the heirs to our actions. All of us are born of our actions. All of us are related to our actions. We all live supported by our actions. That really for all beings, all of us, whatever actions we do, skillful actions, harmful actions, we will be the heir to those actions. And this reflecting in this way with this ubeka, with this equanimity, allows us to really start to see that all things arise because of particular causes, because of conditions, don't arise by accident. And just as suffering is causal, created by causes and conditions, so too is freedom, so too is liberation. There are causes, there are conditions that lead to freedom, that lead to liberation, that lead to the highest peace. It does not happen by accident. We are extraordinarily fortunate that we are born at a time to have the teachings of a Buddha who saw what these causes, these conditions are that lead to freedom, that lead to liberation, and taught them. He taught us what we need to do, how we need to lead our lives, how we need to spend our time. For good things to occur, to take us in the direction of freedom, and ultimately to take us to the highest of all freedom, Nibbana. And that this freedom truly exists. Nibbana exists. Deva Nibbana. It's real. And that the path leading to it exists. And the Buddha has pointed the way. He has shown us the way. What we must do to lead these lives that we have, these precious lives that we have, with real purpose, with real meaning, is to walk that path as diligently as we can. That is a life well led. It's a life which brings safety, happiness, and peace to ourselves. And it also supports all of those around us in doing the same. And so it's a life that creates light of wisdom. Reflecting in this way really allows us to connect with extraordinary gratitude, respect for the Buddha, and for the Dhamma that he taught. For all those beings who have practiced well, who practiced diligently, who themselves have reached the stream, the Arya Sangha. The more we practice, the more respect we have for that. The more we understand the value that is of the very, very highest value. There is nothing higher. There's nothing more important. And so this time that we have today together, we are dedicating ourselves to really the very, very highest and best. To liberation, to Nibbana. And that as we walk this path, what becomes clear to us is really that all conditioned things are impermanent. Sabbe sankara anicca. Nothing lasts. Nothing endures. All things are of the nature to pass away, to cease. Vaya Dhamma Sankara. They rise, fall. So anything that arises, it must cease. Upajitva nirojanti. Having arisen, passes away, vanishes. And the true happiness, nibbana, is the stilling of all formations. Desa upasamo sukho. Non-arising. Nirodha, cessation. That which is truly permanent, truly secure, that which is unborn, and therefore does not die. It's unmanifest, and therefore does not decay or disappear. Nibbana. We can reflect before opening our eyes that this practice of awakening to how things are, is something we can do every moment of every day. It's something we should do every moment of every day. Pamamina sampadita. Because in this way we are really leading our lives with diligence, exactly as the Buddha said. It means our lives are not fruitless. Wonderful. So in your own time, gently allow your eyes to open. Bring awareness back into the room. And what we're going to do now is go deeper into what is required to have the heart and mind be really composed, settled, unified, to have samadhi. So you can do this either reflectively, in a kind of meditative way, or it may be helpful to write it in your Dhamma diary, whatever is most useful for you. So if we ask ourselves, what did the Buddha tell us? What did the Buddha teach us about the conditions necessary for samadhi? So if we think about, if we reflect on the factors of awakening, the first one, the one that is really the foundation, is the one which, in the same way as when we throw a stone, a pebble, into a lake, ripples extend outwards in all directions. So sati, mindfulness, is that which sets off, creates, inspires, causes the arising of all of the other factors, ultimately. Sati, a beautiful quality of knowing. And so it's no coincidence that the Buddha gives this sati at the front of the seven factors of awakening. As that which is indispensable. And we know from many discourses he gave that sati is developed when we really pay attention to our actions. So our actions by body, our actions by speech, and our actions by mind. So that the purer, the more beautiful, the straighter our conduct, the more sati arises easily, spontaneously, without difficulty. So there's a beautiful relationship between sila, all the causes of wholesome, beautiful action, and sati, mindfulness. And as sati strengthens, what then arises? That quality of mind, that quality of heart, of investigation, of Dhamma vichaya, discrimination. You're really starting to see what's so, of knowing what is skillful and what is unskillful, what is kusala, what is akusala. You're starting to see the impermanent nature of things, the anicca nature, the discrimination. You're starting to understand that there are certain things which cause us harm, which cause us suffering, and certain things which lead to happiness. So understanding, for example, that, and seeing directly that aversion leads to suffering, our own suffering, as well as others. And seeing that metta, karuna, these beautiful qualities lead to our happiness. So we see it directly. It's Dhamma vichaya. It's discrimination, examination. And the more we do that, the more our energy is aroused, or vidya. Because the purer we get, the more pure we want to be. So we see that that is actually where happiness is. Lies in the direction of purity. So purity begets purity. It builds upon purity. So that virya, that cleaning of the heart, that purifying of the heart, the desire for that becomes stronger and stronger. And sometimes that can be as simply just bringing the attention here, right now, to the present moment. And just keeping the attention here, right now. Not allowing the attention to dwell in the past, speculate on the future, but just staying here, staying now. Virya. Virya. And as this wonderful virya matures, what happens? Piti. Happiness, a particular type of happiness, bliss. Sometimes it starts very gently, kind of like goosebumps, just enough to keep the body very, very upright in a very natural way. And as it strengthens, we can even have like bolts of lightning or piti. And it may keep strengthening even from there into waves just washing over us. Incredible bliss. Wave after wave after wave after wave. Can even feel like we're starting to be lifted off the ground. And as this bliss matures, every part of the body is full of it, suffused with it. Extraordinary piti. Often spoken of as the antidote to anger, to aversion. It's a very beautiful quality. powerful quality. And as this piti suffuses the body, what happens? The body calms. Whole body calms. Chittam pasambati, the whole body and the mind. So when the body calms, the mind also calms. Your tranquility, pasadi. Tranquility. And with this tranquility, an even more lovely quality of happiness comes. Sukha. Sukha. The taste of sukha is very beautiful. It's a wonderful happiness. And so now, with these 5 factors of awakening arising, maturing, what happens? Samadhi. Samadhi. Now the heart and mind are free from the hindrances, composed, unified. Extraordinary quality, and full of happiness. Very interestingly, many times in the discourses, the Buddha speaks about samadhi. When we have samadhi, we have overcome desire, kamachanda, desire for sense pleasures. So that hindrance, sense pleasure desire, is completely overcome, as are the other hindrances. And why does the Buddha speak about samadhi as overcoming, completely overcoming desire for sense pleasures, kamachanda? So if we reflect on that, you bring to mind things that you like seeing, places, people, particular colors, clothes, anything that you like to see, things that you like to hear, music, people's voices, particular types. Maybe the sound of food cooking, sizzling, things that you like to smell, perfumes, foods, fresh cut grass, any other smells which appeal to you, tastes, those things when you go to a restaurant and you find yourself picking out, I would like the taste of that or that. And then tangibles, things you like the feel of in the body, chairs you like to sit on, clothes you like to wear. Maybe the feel of light rain on your face after you've been walking in a hot day, on a hot day. Any kind of sensations. Touch, being touched. And also particular thoughts even. All of these things which, when they arise, desire arises. Chanda, karma, chanda. So if you think what happens, if you reflect what happens, the attention is pulled outwards towards that thing. The mind seizes upon what the Buddha calls the signs, the features of those things which seem attractive. It's pulled. The mind is drawn by them, drawn out. Driven by craving, by desire. And in doing so, it also grasps, it attaches. But inevitably, that thing passes away. You stop seeing that pleasant thing, hearing that lovely sound, smelling that delicate smell, tasting that delicious food, having the sensations of that, those cushions on the sofa or the lovely clothes we were wearing. They pass away because they're impermanent. And so then we need more. So we find ourselves chasing more and disappointed when they go. But when we have samadhi, we experience completely different happiness. Because the mind is no longer drawn, it's no longer drawn outside, it stays inside. Supported by Dhamma happinesses, the happiness of piti, the happiness of sukha, the happiness of upekkha, or equanimity. These very beautiful happinesses. And in doing so, we don't feel that same thirst that we do with sense pleasures. So when we have a mind, when we have samadhi, we feel steadiness. Not blown about, not distracted, not chasing, not pulled. But composed, feeling wonderful happiness, beautiful happiness, happiness that is healthy for us, a happiness which leads in the direction of higher happiness, even higher happiness. It's an upward leading happiness, the happiness of samadhi. The heart and mind is pure, unvisited by sense pleasures, by kama chanda, unvisited by aversion, yeah, but anger, annoyance, irritations, resentments, unvisited by any of those things, unvisited by sleepiness, heaviness. Instead, the heart and mind is alert, mindful, unvisited by restlessness, remorse, agitation. Instead, we have stillness and steadiness. Present, present. Unvisited by doubt. These are just some of the incredible benefits of samadhi. Samadhi. Okay. So, can't see any of you. So, assuming you're all still there. So this would be a time. The Hunter's still there. That's good. Now, this would be a time to, if you have your Dhamma diary to hand, to reach for it. If you don't, then anything to write on would be great. Now, since we know that samadhi doesn't arise by accident, it's conditioned by other things. The more the other factors of awakening arise for you in your lives, and this includes in your daily lives too, so it's not just when you're sitting on the cushion, but just generally, the more they arise, the more samadhi will arise. So what we're going to do, if you list the first 5 factors of awakening, so start with sati, so just write sati there, and then below it, the next one, Dhamma vichaya, discrimination, and then below that one, virya, and then below that one, piti, and below that one, passaddhi, tranquility. Okay. So what we're going to do is create a little score for ourselves. So 1 to 5. So 1, as always in our scoring system, is this is very weak. It hardly arises. And 5 is strong. It easily arises. It frequently arises. So if you reflect back over the past month, so the last session that we did, or you did, I think, with Matisha. So reflect back over really everything that's happened, which is probably a lot in a month. Sittings you've had, what's been happening in your relationships, for those of you who are married or have partners, have children, have living parents, friends. Just really what's been happening in your heart and mind is really the question. You're kind of surveying your experience over the past month and just giving yourself just what feels like the kind of score that fits that experience. So, for example, let's say over the past month, you've been working really hard to be mindful. So, for example, every time you felt a little bit of annoyance, irritation come up when your husband, wife, children were doing things you didn't like, you brought awareness to it. It was like, oh, okay. Aversion. then you can score sati high, 3, 4, even 5. Or with Dhamma Vichaya, let's say over the past month, you've reflected on the Dhamma. You've been looking in your own hearts. You've been looking at suttas the Buddha taught, reflecting on their meaning. Why did he say this? Why did he say that? What was he talking about, for example? Or you've been observing the nature of things, seeing, wow, life is really impermanent. You know, when certain things have happened in your life, maybe a friend who was previously always healthy suddenly got sick, and rather than being full of sadness and grief, you reflected with wisdom. So health isn't permanent. Health turns to sickness at some point. For example, that would be Dhammavichaya. So you're reflecting with wisdom, reflecting with insight, like how things actually are. If that's the case, then you would score that high, 3, 4, 5. Well, what about virya? So if there's actually been a lot of intent to practice, like it's actually been on your mind, yeah, this is so important. And so you've been intent on trying to be kind, on trying to be generous, you know, with your friends. You've been intent on keeping your sila really good, on not saying things, even little white lies here and there. Just keeping your conduct really pure. So if there's been that kind of effort, that kind of virya, you're going to score that 3, 4, 5, maybe. Or with piti, with that lovely quality. Maybe you've experienced that extraordinary, lovely Dhamma happiness over this past month. Maybe when you're on the cushion meditating, maybe when you're on walks in nature, maybe even while you were cooking, getting dressed, just your body felt light, felt happy. You could feel that Dhamma bliss, piti. And if so, that's going to get a 3 or a 4 or a 5. And then passaddhi, tranquility. Maybe over the past month, you've really experienced a lot of calmness. You haven't felt your mind, your heart getting agitated, restless, irritated, annoyed. Just felt calm, calm. Even when things around you were going wrong, people were getting upset around you, you felt calm. The body felt calm. Your heart rate stayed nice and steady. Your breathing stayed steady, calm. So if that's been the case, that'll be a 3 or a 4 or a 5. So the highest, so let's supposing you had this incredible month, Dharma month. So you've got 5 factors there. So the highest you could possibly have scored it would be 25, 5 for each one. The lowest you could possibly have scored if you had them all up would be 5. 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. So you can have a score somewhere between 5 and 25. So it's worth actually just adding them up, just doing a little arithmetic there. What score did you get between 5 and 25? And when you've done that, if you could share, that would be extremely interesting. So both sharing what numbers you put, and also importantly, why. Who would like to share? Some of you look deep in contemplation.
15.
Mm-hmm. Can you hear me?
Yes, I said about 15.
15.
Yeah.
15. Great. Can you take us through it? So item by item.
Sati 3,
Mm-hmm.
Dhamma 2, Virya 2,
Okay.
Piti 3, and Passaddhi is about 4.
Oh, really? That's interesting. To tell us a bit more about the passaddhi. So how did you experience it? So were there particular times and events where it seemed really clear that there was tranquility, or was it kind of like a general feeling across the month?
General
What
feeling, yes, not getting
feeling?
angry or excited too much.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Got it. Fabulous. And how about the 3 for sati? So it sounds like you feel like you were quite mindful.
Yes, I think I am trying to be.
Right.
Whatever I think, I know what I'm thinking.
That's interesting. That's interesting. So thoughts come up and it's like, oh, thinking.
Yeah.
Like that, you mean?
Yeah, I know what I'm thinking. I think, what am I thinking?
Got it.
Yeah.
So you don't feel like you were sort of lost in thought a lot of the time.
When I get lost, I know I have.
Got it. That's fantastic. Is that a recent thing, or has that been how long have you had that kind of sati?
Improving, I think, last few
Mm-hmm.
months,
Mm-hmm.
1 year.
Is there anything that has led to it, that has helped you to be more mindful?
I get Virya is too little. getting sleepy and tired, and
Mm-hmm. So that's why you scored the video too,
yeah.
because you feel sleepy and tired.
Yeah.
Got it. Great. So well done. Yeah, fantastic. 15 is great. And so just looking at samadhi for yourself, have you had moments of where you feel you felt samadhi?
I think so, yes. What in
And
meditation.
were those specifically while you were like formally meditating, or at other times?
I do some meditation every day, so especially with Metta Bhavana, I feel like I'm going into sort of very light samadhi.
Right.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Great. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you very much. That's very, very, very interesting. All right. Who else would like to share? Kiranti?
Yeah. Can I then? Sati 3.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, perfectly well.
Okay. Dhamma 3. Virya 4.
Oh, interesting.
Preeti 3, Passaddhi 4. That's it, isn't it?
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Can you talk us through those, Hiranti? Like why you gave them that score? So there's the 3 for
Sati.
sati. Yeah.
I have realized that without mindfulness, I can't go anywhere. So
Very true.
I have to be mindful, especially with my husband, who is not at all mindful. And because I normally get agitated with him, really. So I'm trying to be aware of that and try and do things for him even. I thought, oh, that is the only way. I don't. So I think sati is the main thing I can progress. I have realized that. And I attend a lot of meditation, and I'm mostly engaged with meditation and during the week, because we have got a lot of meditation going on. So therefore, when you are attending meditation sessions, so obviously you are engaged with it, isn't it? There is no point. So then you tend to think of those things, what you have learned, because they are normally during daytime, in the morning. So tend to do that. And so that's one thing. Virya, I have realized there is no time to waste, Hiranti.
Yes, absolutely.
No time to waste, Hiranti. Who knows what will happen next birth, isn't it? So better hurry up.
Absolutely. Yes,
Because-
indeed.
Yeah. And then because I'm more or less on my own, that gives me preeti, I think. I don't know. That must be because I'm thinking of what I'm doing. So that gives me enormous happiness thinking about those things, what I'm doing. I'm not engaged with a lot of people, even with my brothers and sisters. And my daughter hardly ever rings because she's busy. So, so that's it. The Passaddhi, I think. I feel happy.
That's great. That's great.
I hope it will continue like that. I think I have to keep on telling myself.
Absolutely. No, that's really wonderful. Yeah, and as you shared, like when or as you both shared actually, when there's sati, when there's mindfulness, it creates it helps everything else. Everything else starts to happen.
Yeah.
With your husband, so because you shared that he tends to be unmindful.
Well,
How do you stay unagitated when he is doing things that you don't like?
because he has done it whole of his life, isn't it?
I see.
So it's no point, but do what, that is the only way. 'Cause it's no point me getting agitated because of him, because if I want to progress, best thing is to be aware of it and to be kind to him and to make
Very
sure
good.
that he's happy. I used to do that. Then
Wonderful.
I used to get annoyed. Oh, why should I always do that? But then I knew, no, I'm not going to win in that manner. I have to be the other way. So I don't,
Exactly.
yeah, I have learned hard way, but still, it is worth, I think.
That's beautiful. That's such a great example of wise attention. Um, and seeing exactly as you said that if somebody's doing something over and over and over again, why would you just keep getting annoyed with it? It's pointless. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I have to
Yeah, well
protect
done.
myself. Protect
Exactly.
myself.
Exactly. And maybe one day he'll learn from you as well. He'll learn from your example.
I wonder, but nevertheless, I can't do for others. I can only do for myself.
Exactly. That's great. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Fantastic. Thank you. Who else have we got? Dill, do you fancy sharing? You're on mute, Dill.
Okay. So mine is very interesting because I'm going through a very unusual period of my life. And therefore, this course and reflecting in the manner that you have said was very revealing because it wasn't. I mean, normally I have, uh, uh, the kind of life that retired people have when the children are grown up and doing my Dhamma, and things are very peaceful, and I've got a lot of good Kalyana Mitras and a lot of interests which are Dhamma oriented. So that has been my life, and now plenty of opportunities of learning in situations like this. So it is all quite wonderful. And of course, like we all do, we suddenly realize that one of the characteristics of life is that everything changes. And so I'm at this very senior point in my life, suddenly realized that everything that I took for granted and was so, not that it was everything was full of peace and joy, but the life had ups and downs, but I had the tools and I had the opportunities. And so I had a lot of passaddhi and piti and things. It's very different now. And I'm so very grateful to all the teachers and the effort that I have made, and uh, opportunities I have been given, that I can actually be like this and attend a class and learn from people. And so my reflection led to the fact that when I looked at sati, I I would have preferred it if I could have scored a 5, but I can't, because I find that the triggers that I have at the moment, because of the changing situations and the difficulties and challenges, because I'm actually planning the next phase of my life where I'm changing where I am and having to decide where I'm going to be. And that's a very difficult situation to be. So triggers are all the time coming because it's all about change and trying to meet deadlines of how can I do something to be somewhere else from where I am. So I find that the sati is the one thing that when it's there, and then it's about a 3, that's the time I have it, that I can actually understand and see things the way they are and not get tipped into why is this not happening, or why has this changed, or uh, you can have lots of regrets. And I find that a lot of the hindrances, which 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 can appear very often now because everything is changing, uh, that with sati I can kind of get more balance into it and see through it, and therefore not get completely hijacked. So I think I have to make a lot of effort, and that's the one which I give myself the highest score, because in the situation that I am, uh, when I'm actually planning the next phase of my life, I have to make a lot of effort not to have regrets or not to feel, oh, why did this happen? And so I find the Dhamma which really, really rewarding, that looking at it, that I can bring the balance that I can bring. So, so I really value what I have learned and the tools I have learned to bring myself into balance much more. So I find that I would score myself more on Dhamma Vichay. Virya, yes, because I have to make a lot of effort, because otherwise, if I was just in my comfort zone and thinking of what life was, I think I could have got quite unhappy and quite, what should I say, quite distressed and quite agitated and wonder, ask the question why. But again, the mindfulness and the investigations in the Dhamma have actually helped me to see things more the way they are and realize that though we know everything is cause and effect, sometimes we can't actually see direct causes of things, but we all come with a samsaric past, and there are various reasons why at certain times some things appear and some things don't appear. And so with effort, I find that I can come to terms with things, and I can actually turn them and transcend them and transform them. And that, I think, for me is the most magical thing about the Dhamma. I mean, we always think of karma, but then we think that karma is always about the bad things you have done. But in Amaravati we say, you are ayatime karma, born of your karma, and seeing, and for good or for ill. And you realize that when we make, because we are practicing, when we make effort, that actually lovely things also happen, miraculous things also happen, which very often you can not see because you're so seeing the other side of it, that you think, that life is very difficult. And I find that thing about karma that we recite in Amarati every day so useful, because not that you're not only just the yas and related, but we do make a lot of effort to do good. And as much as you see the difficulties when the hindrances arise, that you also see how things can transform and that these things pass. And so I find that is making that effort and seeing how beautiful the Dhamma is in making you actually go through life at times of difficulty. And it's just absolutely fascinating. And gratitude arises over and over and over again in me to the Buddha, his teaching, and for who I am, and for the opportunity in this birth that I've had of receiving these teachings from my parents and from my teachers and from my Kalyana Mitras. So I find that my peak comes from my gratitude. Of course, in the moments of when I'm meditating and I'm in samadhi. But unfortunately, at this moment, I cannot engage in all the Dhamma activities and sitting on the cushion that I would normally have done 3 months ago, because you said look at the past month. So this month is exceptionally different. So that's why I'm relating like this. Yes, but if I was thinking about 4 months ago or 5 months ago, I would have said something similar to what the others have said. But this month and the next month is going to be very difficult. But I think that's the beauty of it all, that we have these tools and these opportunities to meet and get refocused. So the peace comes from the stillness, yes, but also from gratitude for me, for the things that I have been blessed with, which are helping me to overcome challenging situations, which is the way it is when suddenly things change, not unexpectedly. I knew they were due to come, but when they actually come, it's a very different thing from something that is going to happen in the future, because you've got to do something in the present moment. And that's another thing. The importance of the present moment is becoming hugely important to me, because if not, it's very easy to project yourself into the future, to be unmindful, because mindfulness is about being in the present moment. But what happens is that it's very easy. If mindfulness drops, you will always tend to go back to the past and have regrets. Why did I do this? Or why didn't I do this? But even more so about the future. Things haven't happened, but you worry about everything because it's uncertain. So I find that these things are really interlinked, that you can't take one from the other away. They're so enmeshed, and the Buddha has made us, when you come across the teachings and when you reflect, that as much as we say, yes, practice and, Pariyatti and Pativedya and things like that, that actually the times you are not practicing is, for me, the greatest times of practice, because that's when things happen. And that's when you can easily, if you are not very mindful, because when things are peaceful, you're not sitting in front of a teacher and meditation, then that's much easier. But when you have to face situation that without the Dhamma I couldn't have faced, I must say. So, and that's what brings me the tranquility, and I rely on both the metta bhavana, as somebody said, as well as Buddhanusati Bhavana. I mean, I find that around 3 o'clock, 3 to 4, I always wake up. I go to bed around 10:30, 11. Sometimes even it might be 11:30 if I'm watching one of the Dhamma programs. Very often, if I can't at the moment see them at the time that they are being broadcasted. I have to then look at the recording. But I find, because I have other things that I have to do just to be on top and do what I have to do. And so then I find that the tranquility that I get at those moments is really, we've got this bean counter that we have been given a tiny little, that we've been asked to, Panjamansa Swami wants to buy, this little thing like that. And it's very easy. It's a thing like that, right? And it's just got, mine is not digital, it's just plain thing. And each time you say Buddhanusati, with the feeling that you get, having known what the Itipiso Gatha is, and a word by word, the 9 factor, but actually not concentrating on the meaning, because now you've grown. And for me, it's the Mahakarunika quality that, and the gratitude that comes. And actually doing that when I get up in the night and I think of, gosh, I've got to do this and this and this tomorrow. It just calms me. And also the self-love that I'm practicing a lot, because I think that if you don't have self-love, that you can't actually project love when irritations and frustrations and all these things that breed ill will or aversion comes in. So I am, when I get up at this moment, I also do a lot of metta bhavana to myself, and then project it to others. And I found that is very effective when I come across the triggers, which at the moment are very easily identifiable. And that's also a very useful thing, because I know beforehand, oh, this situation is going to be very dicey for me. And then I bring that my metta into. So altogether, so when I look at and I find you're coming back from this particular session, from 2 months on being on self-retreat and being a monk, had an enormous impact for me of these sessions and how you projected yourself to us. There's something very, very different for me in what came through to you, very calming, something very reflective, very discriminating, very different to the kind of the sessions that you have done before, which were much more kind of, what we normally learn, factual. So I found this a very inspiring lesson, and in my particular position, it's very, very helpful and insightful. So I thank you very much for your patience in listening.
Thank you, Dil. That was amazing. Really, really amazing. Yeah, one of the many interesting things you said, which is so important, is that when we reflect on good things, so for example, on the Buddha, we reflect with gratitude, as you said, what happens? Piti, or sometimes like a moja, which is gladness, which is like a form of piti, and then it strengthens into full piti. So that's a very useful thing to just continually remember, that when we reflect on beautiful things, the Buddha, the Dhamma, the Sangha, all of these things, exactly as you said, happiness comes up, piti comes up. Yeah. Thank you, Dil. That was an amazing share.
Thank you. Thank you for listening.
My pleasure. Our pleasure. Thank you so much. Gihanta, do you have thoughts on this?
Thanks, Paul. I'll briefly summarize my reflections. So Sati, I gave myself a 3, as everybody else has said. It is fundamental, isn't it, to everything? And so I think I've been developing my mindfulness over time. And if I give time for it, I'm more mindful. But I have had life events which have also come up, and sometimes it disturbs the mindfulness. But when I do find the discipline, I think it is it is a sure way to find peace. So it's just about being disciplined, and that leads to sort of why I've given myself a 2 to Dhamma Vichaya, because if I'm a bit more discriminating and careful about how I focus my time, and then I possibly can be more mindful. When I am mindful, I think it is really good. I just need to be more disciplined about being good. Virya, again, I give myself a 2 simply because at the moment I've been focused more on work and other matters that have come up in my life. So I think again it's about applying myself a bit more. So yeah, so there's room for improvement. PT, I give myself a 3, and that is a lot because not just the practice, but also I think a lot of my friends will know, even Dhamma friends will know, for the longest time I've had questions about my career, and now that is settling down. I've found my track, and it gives me so much happiness. Something that this career track is more consistent also with my values. So that gives me a lot of happiness, and even when there are challenges and difficulties, I'm able to kind of find more peace simply because of that. Hold on. Sorry, there was some disturbance. And then finally, Passaddhi, calmness. I think again, because of the PT I have in my sort of lay life, in some ways that's giving more calmness as well. So I think all in all, I've scored myself a 13. I'm sort of halfway there, I suppose. I just need to sort of apply myself a bit more, be more disciplined, because I think, like Dil mentioned, this path, as you practice it, it gives you the confidence that results will be there. You just have to keep applying and move forward. Thank you.
Amazing. Very much, Kianta. Yeah, really wonderful. So, because we just have a few minutes, what we're going to do is what we do every time, which is what we call priming. So priming, we're looking ahead. We're looking ahead to the coming month in particular. And as you've spoken about, there's incredible value, extraordinary value in consciously setting intentions. So you can do this in your Dhamma diary, is to, with each of the 5, with each of the 5 factors up to Samadhi, and then also Samadhi. So you can actually put all 6 factors down. What we're doing here is setting the intention, creating the intention to up level wherever we feel last month was for this coming month. So for example, if you scored Sati a 3, what would it take for it to become a 4? If you scored Dhamma Vichaya a 2, what would it take to take it up to a 3, etc.? And so, you may have picked things up from listening to other people sharing particular ideas, because there were some very rich sharings, and all of you shared some very useful things. If you consider this, that one of the beautiful things about the Dhamma is because the entire path is conditioned. It's conditioned by previous things. One thing naturally leads to another, naturally leads to another, naturally leads to another. So you get a kind of like a domino effect. Once you start with a beautiful quality in Dhamma, other ones naturally unfold. So particularly with sati, because sati is the beginning, is the first of the 7 factors, the more attention you give that, not only will your sati score increase, but actually all of the scores will start to increase. So if you ask yourself, okay, great, well, what do I need to do to increase my sati? So there are various things you can do, which some of which, actually many of which we've talked about in the past. So one is association. So the more you associate, particularly with the Buddha, the more mindful you're going to get. So that can be in whatever form really works for you. It could be recording some Dhamma that you've heard. It can be reading some Dhamma, listening to a really good Dhamma talk. And sometimes it just takes a little bit. You just have to recall a line or two of Dhamma. That can be enough. And what you're doing is you're connecting your heart to the Buddha's words. And that creates energy. It creates Dhamma energy. And as you do that, you will find the sati immediately comes. It's just there. So Kalyanamita, particularly with the Buddha. So the Buddha for all of us is the highest of our Kalyanamita. And then other people too, who you find inspire you in the Dhamma. So that's a very, very important one. And then another one, as I mentioned earlier, is around just checking in with your sila. So like when you speak, how are you speaking? Are you really dedicated to really speaking truthfully, to really speaking gently, to really speaking in a way which creates harmony, so not speaking divisively, to not getting into some papalapa, so idle chatter. So these simple but incredibly important and powerful things will strengthen the sati, and vice versa, and the sati will then strengthen the Dhamma Vichaya, etc. So you're creating this beautiful, virtuous chain of causes, which will take you to liberation, which will take you to stream entry and beyond. Fantastic. So
I had a train journey today.
yes,
and I was trying to, concentration on feelings, hardness, the cold in the train
oh, that's
when
great.
I'm touching, sitting. So just practicing that in the train.
Beautiful. Exactly. Perfect example. So you can do it sitting on the train, you can do it while you're sitting eating, as you're lifting the fork, lifting, chewing. You're bringing forth mindfulness in an activity you're going to be doing anyway, right? You're going to eat during the day unless you're fasting. So that's a beautiful opportunity to be mindful. Or when you're putting on your pajamas, when you go to bed later tonight, mindfully getting dressed. So every single thing, every single activity is an opportunity to bring forth mindfulness and for awakening. Amazing. So firstly, I as always, just so happy and so grateful to you all for being here and spending your time here and spending your time with the Dhamma, on the Dhamma, the highest and best use of time. And so sadhu to all of us, to all of you. Just saw your comments, Samantha. Thank you very much. So yeah, I wish you a very fruitful month's practice, and very, very interested. I will be very interested next month to hear your sharings about how the awakening factors were for you during the month. Next month, which is November, isn't it? I want to spend a little bit more time with Samadhi, particularly on how to deal with distracting thoughts, which the Buddha gave a very, very specific advice about. So we're going to go through that next month, and then in our final month of the year, December, we're going to do BODHI, the last of the awakening factors. So sadhu, 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 and may the merit from this time we've had together, and actually all of our wholesome actions today, throughout the past week, month, year, throughout our entire lives, all of our wholesome actions by thought, speech, body, all of them be cause and condition for all of our liberations, for all of the liberations of all of our loved ones, for the liberations of all beings throughout the entire universe, wishing that all beings everywhere may be liberated as soon as possible. May it be so. Sadhu.
Sadhu,
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you, Paul. Once again, I think, refreshed with your practice and the insights from your meditations in BODHI. Clearly, we can see how much has changed. I guess your own progression, but I think the sharing you've done here and inspired all of us here today. It's so it's wonderful to have you back, and wonderful to actually be with everyone in this gathering. So may the benefits that have come about with your sharing, with our learning, the practice we've done, bless all of us, bless you, bless all of us with good health and happiness, and give strength to our practice during the coming weeks, and then we will meet again first week in November, hopefully, to continue this work on Samadhi, and then of course to complete the 7 Bojjangas by the end of the year, which has been a very rewarding exercise. Thank you, everybody. I also want to give thanks to Sheila, to Hiranti, and to Dil for your wonderful sharings, and it has made our conversations and discussion even more richer. Take care, everybody, and have a very good.
Thank you. Thanks a lot for the answer.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Paul, and
Thank you all.
Vincent.
Thank you.
Okay.